Do you know that calculator you've got? Ever feel like it could do way more than it does? Well, you're absolutely right. Today, we're going to unlock its hidden potential and turn it from a simple number cruncher into your ultimate math sidekick. Let's dive in.
So, does this sound familiar? You're staring at a problem, you know the steps, but one tiny slip up with a plus or a minus sign, and your whole answer just goes completely off the rails. Or maybe you're looking at an equation and it just feels like a random string of symbols, right? And you're just sitting there trying to picture what it even looks like on a graph.
Look, if that's you, you are so not alone. That jump to advanced math, it's tough, for real. The concepts start getting super abstract. The calculations get longer, and yeah, it's really, really easy to feel overwhelmed. But what if you had a tool that could handle all those tedious calculations for you, visualize those abstract ideas, and even check your work instantly? Well, guess what? That tool is probably sitting in your backpack right now. It is time to unlock the true power of your TI Nspire and start thinking of it less like a calculator and way more like your personal math sidekick.
Yep, your new math sidekick. And today, we're about to unlock 3 of its superpowers that are seriously going to change the way you tackle math problems.
All right, first up, superpower number 1 is all about automating the grunt work. We're talking about saving a ton of time and getting rid of those small, super frustrating errors that can cost you big time on a test. Okay, you remember this from coordinate geometry, right? You get 2 points, and then you have to find the midpoint, the distance, the slope, and the equation of the line. I mean, each one has its own formula, and it is so easy to accidentally swap an x2 for a y1 or something. We've all been there. Okay, but check this out. Here's the magic. Instead of grinding through all those formulas by hand, you just define your points one time, and the calculator instantly spits out the midpoint, the distance, the slope, and yep, even the final equation. Boom. No more manual errors, just clean, instant, accurate results. And the process? It's actually incredibly simple. You just pop open the Notes app, make what's called a math box, define your coordinates, and just let the calculator do the heavy lifting. It totally takes over from there. You can even save this whole setup as a template for any future problems like this. Game changer. And this superpower isn't just for geometry. No way. Think about solving systems of linear equations. Especially when you have 3 variables, the whole manual process of substitution and elimination, it can take up an entire page, and again, it's just begging for a tiny mistake to hop in. But with commands like solve or linsolve, you literally type the equations in exactly how you see them in the problem, tell the calculator what to solve for, and boom, instant answer. What used to take minutes of careful, tedious work now takes seconds. And this is so important. It frees up your brain power to actually understand the problem, not just crunch the numbers. Okay, so that leads us perfectly into superpower number 2, gaining X-ray vision. This is where we go beyond just finding the right answers and start really seeing the math, understanding why the answers are what they are. So let's take a regular polynomial function, something like this cubic one here. If you just graph it, right, the curve goes on forever in both directions. That's its normal, unrestricted domain. But a lot of the time, a problem will ask you to only look at the function within a specific window, what we call a restricted domain. Now, you could try to do this manually, calculate the endpoints and try to sketch it, but it's really hard to be precise and to really see the actual shape. Well, on the calculator, you just add the given symbol, it's that little vertical bar, right after your function, and then you just type in the restriction. And just like that, the calculator literally clips the graph for you, showing you the exact piece of the curve you need to be looking at. All of a sudden, these abstract rules become something you can actually see. Okay, that's cool. But what if you want to see how a whole family of functions behaves? This is where sliders come in. And trust me, they're an absolutely incredible tool for discovery. A slider basically lets you assign a variable to a part of your function, say an exponent, and then you can change that variable in real time and just watch the graph transform right before your eyes. So instead of plotting like a dozen different graphs one by one, you can start asking much bigger questions. What happens to the shape when the exponents change? What's the real difference between an even power and an odd one? How does a negative exponent flip the whole thing upside down? Sliders turn you from just a student into a real mathematical investigator. Which brings us to our third and final superpower, instant verification. Seriously, think of your calculator as the ultimate fact checker. It's here to help you build confidence by letting you check your work instantly.
Okay, let's be real for a second. Polynomial long division is a beast. It just is. It's a powerful tool for sure, but it's a long, messy process where one tiny little negative sign in the first step can completely wreck your entire answer. And the worst part, you might not even realize it until you're at the very end. But now, look at this. With your calculator, you can use a tool like PropFrac. You just enter the division problem and bam! It immediately breaks down the expression, giving you the quotient and the remainder, clear as day. And here's the real key. You still do the work by hand. That's how you learn the process. But now you have an instant proofreader. You finish your calculation and you can immediately check if you got it right. This isn't cheating, not at all. It's validation. It builds up your confidence and it helps you find exactly where a mistake might have happened so you can fix it. So let's put this all together, right? When you combine these three superpowers, automating the grunt work, visualizing the concepts, and verifying your answers, you stop just using a calculator, you become a mathematical explorer. Your whole relationship with math can actually transform. Because mastering this tool, it isn't about finding shortcuts to avoid the work. Not at all. It's about outsourcing the boring, repetitive calculations so your brain is free to do what it's really good at, thinking critically, spotting patterns, and asking those bigger, more interesting questions. Because really, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. The goal isn't just to find X, it's to understand the why behind it all. The answer? That's just a byproduct of real understanding. So you now have the tools. You can automate, you can visualize, and you can explore. The only question left is, what are you going to discover?